A to the K.
To the K.
To the K.
Hello, one and all. Welcome to the A to the K Wrestling Show, where today we are joined by former TNA World Heavyweight Champion Steve Maclin. Steve, thanks so much for being here, man. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on. And first off, I want to apologize. I'm in the truck, but I'm running errands, trying to get back from off the road and back to normal life. And then they're like, hey, can you give me a few calls? I'm like, yep.
Awesome. No, we appreciate it. I know you're very busy, so thanks for taking the time.
No
Obviously, we're fresh off Bound for Glory. You've been very vocal about your opponent, Josh Alexander. You've called him a chicken shit, a coward, and the way, obviously, he won, if you want to call it that, at Bound for Glory, tying your hands behind your back. And even then, you didn't tap out. What are your thoughts on Josh and how that match went down?
Well, like I said, he's a chicken shit, and he doesn't have the help from the boss behind the back, and he's showing his true colors now, and he has been since then. So we're going into the new year, and I'm curious where this is going to go, and then hopefully I can get past this with Josh and end this at some point. But yeah, it's just he's a fighter.
No, definitely.
He's the walking. He really is the walking weapon. He lives up to it. He is one of the best in the world, and I think that's the one good thing, though, too. When he and I get into the ring, we challenge each other that way.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously you mentioned the new year. We've also got Turning Point coming up. Do you think you might be able to get your hands on him by Turning Point, or do you think it could be Genesis or beyond?
We'll see. We'll have to see. I know at Turning Point is what I would like to get it and end there so that we can get towards the world title for the new year at Genesis, but we'll have to see. It's up to Santino and management.
Yes. We did see on Impact as well, Josh kind of abandon his teammates. What do you make of that? Obviously, kind of goes hand in hand with the whole chicken shit thing, but was that a surprise?
Well, he's got his obviously they're not his guys too, so it's not his Northern Armory crew. So what are you going to do? He's showing his true colors as a Canadian, tucking tail and running.
Love it. So speaking of Turning Point, obviously that's coming up on November 29th. We're going to be watching on TNA Plus over here in the UK.
There you go.
What are your thoughts on TNA Plus? Do you think it's been a bit of a game changer, kind of giving the company more exposure overseas?
I think it has, just because even in the States with Access TV, not everybody has Access Television to watch TNA all the time. So having the app now, you could watch everything from the past, and then even now going up to Turning Point at WrestleCade. And then even Genesis, that's going to be in January. You have everything to watch, especially anything they would watch Steve Maclin wise, especially with the behind the scenes of Around the Ring with Gia Miller, a lot of different interviews, video packages that have been put out. It's just been a game changer in its own way, especially since the rebrand of TNA.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm curious to know, because you can obviously watch all the old kind of content and stuff on there. What would you advise someone go and watch on TNA Plus? Maybe someone checking it out for the first time. What match of yours would you suggest they go back and watch to find out what you're all about?
Anything with me? No, no. Like a Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle. If you can get the chance to go back and watch TJP and Josh Alexander in their Iron Man match. Anything Motor City Machine Guns, Beer Money, just anything from the past, anything with Abyss, everything is there. And that's what I go back. I like to go back and watch and obviously study from what my opponents have done in the past, but then also pick and see what works for other people that could possibly work for me.
Yeah, definitely. As you say, so much content over the years. I also wanted to wish you a belated Veterans Day as well. So happy Veterans Day. Obviously, you've done some amazing service with the Marine Corps, and you're an American hero. I'm just curious, have you had a chance to come over to the UK previously, and what are your kind of thoughts on the UK wrestling fans and how that they kind of differ from the American audience?
UK fans are a different body of work, and I love it. I was only over there for Download Festival with NXT in 2018 or 19. I forget which year that was. It was either 18 or 19. Blake and I were tagging over there during Download Fest, so we got to deal with the festival. And then we got to go over to Antwerp. We got to go to Paris, and it was just it was a fun tour just for me, for that crowd and the way it was. It was just fun to not have to throw up a middle finger, but throw up the good old peace sign to everybody.
No, definitely. I think it's a good combination you've chose as well, especially Download Festival. A lot of heavy rock fans there as well. So I'm sure
it
the
was
crowd was
such a good
awesome.
mix too, and it was funny because like there'd be live concerts going on of bands that I wanted to be watching, but I was having to wrestle. But then the tent was full with all of us. I'm like, oh wow, these people are more interested in wrestling than seeing who's what's the band? Can't think of the name right now. But then we got done wrestling. Marilyn Manson was on, so we went and watched Marilyn Manson later that night. And Guns N' Roses was there too.
Nice. Yeah,
It was a good time.
hell of a show. So you mentioned you did capture the TNA World Championship last year, but you obviously unfortunately held it for I think it was 54 days.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, sorry to remind you of that, but obviously once you get past Josh, is that your next goal? Kind of setting your focus on the world title again.
Yeah, I say it in every interview, and even when I'm asked, if you're not in this for the world title, then what are you trying to do? That means if when you have the world title, it means you're the best. Right now, Nick Nemeth has it, and it's getting back to that. But then I also have to deal with what's in front of me, and that's Josh Alexander, the walking weapon, and his entire Northern Armory of Travis and Judas.
Yeah, no, definitely. You can't overlook the obstacle in your way before you go there. Um, you mentioned you were in NXT for a little bit before TNA. Obviously, we have this kind of working relationship at the moment between the two companies. Do you have any interest in maybe popping up back in NXT and kind of showing the audience, your development over the years?
When the time is right, and it's if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm not going to be heartbroken. Just because I was there for so long, it's just would it be a cool moment? Yes. But I'm happy with what I'm doing right now in TNA. But when that time comes, if they ask me to go over there and represent TNA in NXT, that just know I'm going to be coming a little bit more meaner, a little bit more aggressive, just because of what I'm representing and also what my past was.
Yeah, no, definitely. I also obviously you did tag a lot with Westin Blake. How's he doing? Obviously, with everything going on, I know you and Deonna obviously really close with him and stuff like that. And just how's he? Is he good?
He's good. Life's good. We were actually just chatting a little bit earlier when I was on my way to the gym and getting a massage done here today. But he's good. He's at the coach. He's a coach at the PC now. He's one of the head
Nice.
trainers there and a producer as well. So it's really cool for that talent to be able to be in the ring and be learning from a person like him because he is one of the most underrated talents. I don't think people realize how good he was and is. So it's just he's doing great. I'm just happy for him. We try to see as much of each other as we can, but we talk every day.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Obviously, when you did go from NXT to TNA, you did see a bit of a kind of an attitude shift, and obviously you've really kind of carried the company, on your back, and you've been really adamant of trying to prove that you're the kind of top guy. What have you got kind of a new fire lit under you after that World Championship win?
Get back to it. It's you can have it and it's gone, just like you said, in 54 days. So things happen like that, and then you just have a hunger, and it's just like I got handed the ball and then I dropped it. And did I do well? I thought I did, but things happen, and you just got to get back to it and work through the bad things that happen to you, and just keep pushing.
Yeah. So I believe you re-signed with TNA back in April. So obviously, have you committed to TNA for the long haul now?
I'll be here for a little bit of the future. We don't need to put a time frame on it, but I'll be with TNA for a while.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. You know, I mentioned previously about obviously you've said in other interviews about kind of trying to prove that you can be the guy and do the media and do the press and ultimately carry the company on your back. What are your goals for TNA as a company? What while you're with TNA?
What we're doing right now is the progress of just building up bigger crowds, bigger arenas, the TNA Plus, getting more eyes on the TNA Plus app for streaming, just so we get more eyes on the product. And that's our goal as professional wrestlers and entertainers, just to go out there and try to draw attention, get more of a crowd. And ever since the rebrand, these crowds have been getting bigger and bigger. And even this past week in Fayetteville, like the crowd was just electric, 3,000 people, and it's an awesome feeling. And that's the goal going forward, is just to keep getting to bigger arenas, coming over to the UK and Europe and doing a tour there at some point. I would love to be a part of that. Japan, just go everywhere. And that I think that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, no, I mean it's great to see wrestling's really hot right now, and I think TNA, especially as you say, it's great to see those crowds and see pack out those arenas. I think a fantastic thing. I also wanted to wish you and Deonna a happy 2-year wedding anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. I love kind of watching you guys on social media. I love the she tries to teach you a new history fact or give you a quiz.
Every day I'm like, wow, I post some like cool photo of me doing something in wrestling, but nope, everybody wants to see history. Me trying to answer a question right, but it's all good fun, and I love it too because she likes to make me laugh, and I think that's one of her favorite things. She tells me all the time, like, I like when you just laugh because I don't also smile a lot, but no, it's a lot of fun, especially when I get them right.
Yeah. But do you kind of miss working together with Deonna? Do you still obviously get to see her, often?
Yeah, obviously we see each other at home, or we try to travel together when we can. But I do miss being on the road together because it made work fun just because I'm with my wife and my best friend, and we would try to travel into certain towns or cities a day earlier, so we can try to sightsee and just kind of see the world together, just so we could check things off our bucket list. But yeah, I do. We miss it all the time on the road.
Yeah. I've got to ask as well. Sorry if you get asked this quite a lot. Who would be on Steve Maclin's Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling?
I just got asked this before. Stone Cold, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, and John Cena. That was my answer before. I'm not going to change it now. Rey Mysterio might be up there too.
Yeah, no, I think it's you got quite an eclectic mix there. I think of obviously very technical wrestlers, brawlers. Do you I think you're a bit of a brawler more than everything, but you try and kind of incorporate a lot of different styles into what you do.
Yeah, I kind of try to take, obviously, with Stone Cold, a lot of my mannerisms. I get told a lot, especially jokingly from when I was training growing up in the business. It's just funny how like you take from what you want to emulate or what you saw as a fan. So a lot from Stone Cold. Mr. Perfect was one I always tried to watch when I first got into wrestling just because of his selling, and I loved him as a kid too. And then even Roddy Piper, like just mannerisms from each and just the way they move and just do certain things. And then Shawn and Bret, I just loved as a kid. Shawn selling, Bret's technician. It just, yeah. And then John Cena, just because John Cena has to be up there on the Mount Rushmore for me, just because of how his longevity of being a top guy for as long as he was as the number one.
Yeah, no, it's great choices. Some of my favorites there as well. Perfect Bret, Piper, definitely. I believe as well. You were doing, you may have completed now a bachelor's degree in psychology. I know you had a big focus.
Still in school right now. Actually, I have an assignment due tomorrow, so still working on my degree right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was going to ask how it's kind of all going, and I believe you want to put a bit of focus on mental health. So I'm just curious what kind of made you decide to start studying that.
Just because when I was let go from WWE at that time, I was like, all right, well, obviously I need a backup plan if obviously how we're going to go into TNA. And if TNA doesn't work out, I got to figure something out. And then a lot of jobs I was applying to obviously required a college degree. So I was like, well, might as well go back to school and also get paid for it on the GI Bill, which is afforded to me as one of the benefits of being a veteran. And so made light of that and started pursuing it. And then I was like, all right, well, what am I going to study? And as I was applying to jobs, a lot of people were civilians that where I was applying for actual veteran style jobs. And I was just like, these people can't relate to how I feel or want to get into certain things. So it's just like, how could I help veterans in the VA? And like, how could I help in the, like, just to relate? Because it's always good when a veteran on veteran is there to relate to each other, not just more a civilian. Because a lot of times we don't want to open up to people. So we like to keep things. So once you have a familiar face or hear somebody that's from, whether it's Army, Air Force, Navy compared to Marines, like you always still have that in with each other no matter what, and that comfort.
Yeah, no, I love that. And best of luck for the assignment tomorrow.
Thank you.
I suppose lastly from me, what does kind of the next 12 to 18 months look like for you? And ultimately, what do you want your kind of legacy to be, both in the business and just in life?
Well, I try to focus on my next match, and I got 2 bookings this weekend coming up on the Independence, one at the Monster Factory and one at Northern Crown up in Canada. So those are my 2 focuses right now, and then we have Turning Point the following week at WrestleCade. So I try to focus on the now more as I'm getting older than I do what's going on in the future. But when I'm done with wrestling, I want to know that I gave every bit of it I have, respected for what I put in my body of work, and then also just I got to live a dream that not many people were able to do. And you know what I mean? I went from being a little kid playing with toy guns and wrestling in my backyard, and I've got to do all of that. So it's just pretty cool. At some point in life, I'll be able to pass that on to my kids and tell them to go after what they want. That's kind of where my head's at.
Amazing. Absolutely love that. Steve, honestly, I know you're super busy. Thank you so much for taking the time. Before I let you go, just can you just let everyone know how they can keep up to date with yourself, and obviously how the fans can watch TNA?
TNA Plus app. Download it now. If not, on Fight or on DAZN, I know over in the UK area in Europe. And then also follow me at Steve Maclin on Twitter and Instagram. And then all your Steve Maclin merchandise is at Pro Wrestling Tees, Steve Maclin Store, or Shop TNA.
Awesome, Steve. Thank you so much for taking the time.
No, thank you.